come into a problem with numbers, analytics behind it, then you pretty much have the confidence you need that, hey, let's take this risk.
They need to learn how to take a risk. Innovation comes with a great deal of risk. And if you don't take a risk, you can't be innovative, because innovation comes with a huge risk.
Our lawyers out there that are kind of doing multiple practice types, definitely, you need to focus on one. And then, before it's a requirement, before you create systems and things, you need to have one to apply to. And the people that are kind of open-minded to adapt are the ones that usually do well.
The smart people analyze who they're talking to right from the beginning of the conversations. AI will do that for you.
Welcome to my legal academy, helping lawyers work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life.
First time recording this, and it's actually our second time, but you know what? This done is better than perfect. I'm super excited to be able to do this show with you. If you guys don't know who Hamid is, Hamid has a Silicon Valley background, which Hamid will probably give a little short summary of it shortly. But he's also been my mentor the last couple of years. And he's been able to help me.
Actually, like 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, and it's been able to grow. But basically, you took your 40 years of experience, and we're been able to hand it to me in the last 4 or 5 years. And now I also take those lessons, and I also pass them off to members inside of our My Legal Academy program. So it's kind of good to be able to, for both of our audiences, to be able to get to know each other. And hopefully this show will be a place for you guys to get to see our real side, and a place where we can share your stories. And I kind of see this vision where we could talk about life, talk about law firm, talk about AI, anything that's innovative and very future forwarding kind of thinking, and big picture kind of thinking about law firms. We want to really explore that. Hamid, can you give a short little summary of who you are and what you do?
Sure, Sam. It's a good introduction, but
if you don't mind, a little
absolutely.
bit closer.
So basically what I started off was in the high-tech industry when I was very early ages, and it was very colorful beginnings, because it was early days in Silicon Valley. I was 17-year-old engineer.
What years were those?
This is early 80s, 1980 actually. And no internet, no cell phones. That's how we got started. And I was working with several good high-tech companies, and one of the more colorful one was Sun Microsystem, which was a very innovative environment, great people, great team, great vision. I was there about 8 years, and then moved on to a bunch of other companies, HP, Compaq, and I got my MBA there while I was doing that. It was a lot of fun, but it was the most discipline that I ever got working there, and that stayed with me throughout the entire career. It's having that discipline created from a high-tech environment, which is very structured. So that was very good. And then moved to LA, run a publicly traded company for a while.
During that time, you probably skipped over how long were you in Silicon Valley?
I was there about 20 years.
20 years. And what were the public companies like?
Sun Microsystem was the greatest one, and then Hitachi, Compaq, HP, and that took about 20 years of the career.
And what were your positions and roles in those?
Since I was an engineer with a business mind, mainly was developing new market segments, business developments in the high-tech area, expansions, partnerships, and so forth. Mainly in the way of a business development executive with a tech background, which everything you do in Silicon Valley, you need to have some sort of a tech background. Otherwise, it's not going to go well. So that's how it started off. And then moving to LA and doing sort of the same thing with a more of a global vision. And then after that, setting up a couple of my own enterprises and different type of companies. And then I sort of fell into the law. Pretty much by accident. Trying to help a friend to sort of fix a law firm. Fell into it, and I saw a huge opportunity. And the great thing was meeting people like yourself within that process. I would say it was a very virgin industry. For somebody like myself coming from Silicon Valley, almost like taking the clock back another 10, 20 years back and start over again. So that's what the law looked like when I got into it.
And you essentially came on as a COO, running the operations, the marketing, business development side of things.
Yeah, it was more of a sort of try to see what I can contribute to and what I can fix and so forth. And I said, boy, there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of things to fix. So it wasn't like fixing one thing. It was like fixing a lot of things. Anywhere from, automation, technologies, staffing, marketing, almost like every element of law practice was frozen in time, like 20 years frozen and never moved. Everybody followed everybody. Everybody did the same thing everybody's doing, using the same tools, if there was any tools. So it got very exciting real quick that there is a lot of opportunities. And the funny thing is that I wasn't really know what the destination was. And then I start getting calls from people. It says like, can you come and do that for us? And I was like, what is that? And I said, I don't know. I just heard you do that stuff. And that's how I sort of moved on and became a stuff. And it grew and grew. And now we're a company of close to 200 staff and about 1,000 agents. And we work with 500-600 law firms. And I'm involved in a lot of things with you and the different elements of law and the different business models and so forth. And I have other partnerships with other folks. It's been an amazing experience.
A lot of it is built on relationship first, with a very grandiose mission, with a lot of technology, with a lot of marketing, to be able to do what both of us do, and be able to, we were able to both take our expertise and be able to apply it to the legal market. And now, as you mentioned, across different companies, across multiple law firms, across hundreds and thousands of clients that we are both able to serve. It's been a fun ride.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest area of this thing has been everything thinking outside the box and not being tied into a process, the old process or old mentality. Just like trying to do everything that they haven't done before. That was probably the biggest challenge, fun, and the success was don't do what everybody's doing the things they haven't done, so you can experience new things and expand and grow. So it still holds after like 6-7 years of doing this. It's still trying to find out things that needs to be innovated and created.
Is that innovative mind, is that created in people, or is this something that could be taught to people? If people just say need to be innovative, do they need to partner up with people, or is it how does that?
No, they need to learn how to take a risk. Innovation comes with a great deal of risk. And traditionally, professional folks like medical professionals, accounting professionals, legal professionals are not risk takers. They sort of went to the field to almost not take a risk. So if you don't take a risk, you can't be innovative because innovation comes with a huge risk of not succeeding. So the first element I always tell folks that try to coach them on is that learn to take a risk. Okay, you're going to fail a few. I learned this through venture capital interactions I had in Silicon Valley. They invest a lot of money in a lot of different ideas. And I said, how do you make sure you actually have an ROI? It says, look, if 1 or 2 out of my ventures, out of the 10, make it, I have made millions or if not billions. So I said, so 20% conversion basically. If I'm investing in 10 places, 2 of them pays off, I have made it. So that was the risk element. So yeah, I can risk an 8 terrible one, failed one, to make the 2 successful. So that's been the message.
And I think that's the requirement. It's as you mentioned risk, I was thinking about calculated risk versus blind risk. And I feel like a lot of people don't take risk because it's completely, they're in the blind of what does it take, what are the numbers behind it, other things, and when they don't know that, then they're afraid to take the jump. But instead, when you come into a problem with numbers, analytics behind it, then you pretty much have the confidence you need that, hey, let's take this risk with a 20% conversion rate. Then that will, even if it doesn't work out, we still have a 20% chance of it working out really well.
Right, but even if you're taking the risk with a calculated scenario, there is no guarantees. It's still because you're doing some predictive analysis, you're doing some predictive decisions. It's a prediction. It might go, it might not go. It's still a risk. It doesn't matter how much you calculate it. Because if it was that sure, then everybody would be doing it, everybody would be a billionaire, and everybody whatever. But that's not the case. At some points, you have to stop calculating and start doing. Because you could be calculating the heck out of things for years and not doing anything about it.
Right. And I feel like I learned this lesson from you early on. I would come to you, I'm like, hey, should I do this, or it would either be this or this, which a lot of people, fall into that trap. It's always the or kind of decisions. Or they ask, should I do this, right? But, after 1 time, 2 times, 5 times I started coming to you with these questions, you're like, yes, yes, or you say both. And then I'm like, okay, it's my sixth time asking, and I'm still getting the same answer. So maybe the answer is always yes or both. And that's when I think I stopped asking as many of those questions, and I found that that's the pattern is yes, just go for it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, it's just about doing it. Ultimately, you don't know until you know, and you only know when you do it. So go do it until you know, kind of
You
mentality.
can't win with not doing. This is the first formula. You have to
Yeah.
do to succeed. So if you don't do it,
Right.
then you never have no chance of success. So my answer is always do it. Do it in controlled environment. Do it based on a plan. But two very common words in the tech industry is proof of concept and a pilot program. You're not signing your name for indefinitely to be doing something or investing in something. You test it, you try it on a controlled environment, in a controlled time frame or whatever. If it works, it's great. And if it doesn't, you stop and you do something else. You never stop and not do anything.
And I guess also for us, we kind of coming into this conversation, we realized maybe we should do this with people also. Before we jump into bed and make long-term commitments, let's test things out with a short-term kind of projects, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day kind of goals.
Okay.
And if we achieve that, then let's go tackle the second challenge. Can you share like how we're also talking about exploring this in the startups nations and kind of incubating the programs, how that plays out?
Sure. Incubation has always been a thing in the industries that I've been at, because again, incubation is really mean testing, but it's more of a controlled environment testing, but it's a test. And incubation, when it turns into a self-driven, independent entity, then they pass the test, basically. So the incubation that we started up in the legal industry is a whole new concept that is like every time I talk about it, everybody goes, oh, wow, I never thought about that. We take attorneys who we feel that they're confident and they're strong and they're committed. And we basically say, okay, you want to have your own law firm? Great. Your challenge is always, I don't know how to set it up, how to run it, how to make it succeed and so forth. Well, we know. So we do it for you. And then the next challenge is, I'm not sure if I can afford all of this. Don't worry about it. We afford it. We put all the investment in. You just stay there and under our management, do what you do even a school for. You do the lawyering, we do everything else. End of the day is your own practice, is your own law firm. We're going to hand it over to you when it's done. And sometimes it takes 3 to 5 years to establish a successful practice. So we are along with them, managing and providing resources until it's done. So that's the incubation of a law firm.
Is that part of our long-term vision together, Hamid?
Absolutely. I think we can have several law firms in every state in several different practice areas, and essentially it's just us launching successful practices based on the proven formula. It's not like a traditional ways, again, when people were just, okay, I finished law school, or I work in this law firm, I want to go on my own. I just pick a name, put my last name on it, which I'm totally wrong, don't approve of people's last names on the law firms. I like generic names. And then I start getting clients. And the first trap that people fall into, and I get in my office almost every day, they come out out of the law school, they pass the bar, and then friends and family start referring them cases. Is a worst trap, because they get used to it, that they think they got the cases for free because my cousin gave them to me.
Or it's money.
And then it screws them up because they sign up 5 different practice types. They're doing a personal injury, employment, workers' comp, and they review some contracts. It's like, no, you can't do that. You got to stay focused.
That might be the biggest trap, potentially, just doing multiple practice types, multiple things. I call it like the opportunity lawyers. Like whatever that comes my way, I do because I know how to do it, so I could do it. So I might as well make some money.
Yeah, I always look at it as like if you ever done any sort of a contract work in your home, the first guy that comes in as a contractor says, yeah, I can do plumbing, I can do electrical, I can build a wall, I can build a bathroom. And I'm like, oh, God, I got to get rid of this guy because there's no way in heck that he can do all of this.
Yeah.
Right? So you get a specialist, I get a flooring guy, and I get a plumber, and I get an electrician. Then I'm pretty sure I can build up a house. So yeah, it's the biggest trap when they come in and their friend and family, and then they get hooked on it. It's like a drug. Then they're sitting back waiting for the rest of the friend and family to continue feeding them. They just don't know that that's going to end, and the next person who in that group setting becomes the attorney is going to get the rest of them from that point on. So it's a trap.
It's a trap, and probably working harder they need to be, because now there's a lot of inefficiencies in the system. You have to, do a lot of the work yourself. You can't systematize things, automate things when you have so many things going on. So yeah, if there are lawyers out there that are kind of doing multiple practice types, definitely, you need to focus on one, and then, that's the way to, before it's a requirement, before you create systems and things, you need to have one to apply to. And I get all the people, this all the time, the people that join our program, that get exposed to the whole world of client generation. It's like, yeah, this is amazing. I'm going to do this for this and this. And I'm like, no way.
Yeah, no way.
Don't even. I know you could try, but no, don't even try. Don't even try, because it's just you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Right. The first analysis they should do when they want to get into the field of law, other than that people are very set about the specific type of practice they want to do, like since they were in high school, they want to become a criminal attorney, or they want to become a family attorney. Those are comes their passion. As soon as you come out, focus on that, establish it as such, and move forward. The other half that doesn't matter, they just want to be in the business of law, they got to do a research and find out, in the state that I am, in the environment that I have, with the budget that I have, what's the best type of a practice I should pursue? Because I don't care if I practice employment or class actions or family law, whatever. I just want to be a successful practice. So let's do research to find out how competitive it is, what kind of financial benefits you can have, what kind of a budget you need, what kind of commitments you need to have, and then pick that and go with it.
Yeah, and that's a big elephant in the room that none of people talk about, is that there are better practice types than others. And me and you are sitting on that information, but we know the values and the marketing costs of things, and we know the systems and the teams that it takes for each, so many different types of practices there are. And it is trade secrets kind of information.
Absolutely, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's a very big thing. People come to my office and say, younger guys, maybe 2 or 3 years out of the law school, and say, I want to open up a PI firm in California. And I'm like, oh, no, please not. There's not one more. We can't have another one, because it's extremely saturated.
And the funny thing is, no, I'm still going to do it. I know it's hard, and I'm still going to be
and then they come back a year later.
Yeah.
And we have the same conversation.
Yeah.
I said, how can you help me? Well, there's things that I can't help you with. When the saturation in California with the PI is that extreme, unless you actually go and bring a bag of money that you can spend millions on spending on getting cases, I can't help you, because it's saturated. But no, you want to do a PI in Arizona, in Georgia, or South Carolina, man, I can make you rich. But you have to be willing to do that.
I think the biggest factor, and I think about it, is where you are, your geographical location. It starts with that, and then second, I would say the numbers behind the things, the value per client, the demand for it.
The cost of client acquisition is the most important thing. You're basically buying everything. So you got to know, how much am I going to buy these cases for? It doesn't matter how it comes, what lead source. It's got from Google or social or Yelp or whatever it comes, it has a cost to it. So you got to know that cost. You got to know the availability of the volume of the cases that could be gained from those channels. And then the second, you got to know what's the average settlement or fees collected from each of those cases. If you don't know how much you're buying it for and how much you're selling it for, you're basically buying raw goods, developing the gadget, and you're selling the gadget in the end.
And we had
That's a legal process.
We had one of those conversations today. We had a conversation this morning, and we're talking to the attorney, and the attorney is giving us details about this and that and this, and then I have to interrupt them, that's great, that's good enough, but ultimately it just comes down to the numbers.
I was very proud of you when you actually cut the conversation and you got the legality stuff out of it, and you just basically say, okay, just cut this out, still down.
What are the numbers?
How much am I going to get the cases for? And when the case is done, what's the return?
Let's start with that.
And just give me that number. Okay, no, it doesn't make sense for me to be involved.
Right.
That's exactly what you did, in the 30 seconds or less. Instead of having a 2-hour conversation about practicing family law in New York. And it's don't need to know that. Again, when you're in the business of law versus practicing law, if you want to go work for a big law and be litigator and this and that, that's a whole different story. But 80% of the folks are interested in setting up their own practice, grow it, scale it, and that's all numeric. It's all numbers. From day one you open it until the last day you close it is all about numbers.
how do you define success for a law firm owner? What is that in the realm of money, freedom? What is that for you whenever you think about success, like most successful attorneys that you know?
First of all, is being calculated and have a plan. The one that have a plan and execute the plan mostly are successful because it's just planned out and they're executing the plan. They're not changing tracks in the middle of it. The second, being committed. And in the first 3 years of your practice setup, you can't have a life. It doesn't work if you want to be really successful. So you have to commit. It's just like going to law school. You can go in law school and medical school and have a full-time job. Just doesn't that work out that way. So the commitment is there, calculation is there, having the discipline and having a right expectation and looking at it as a business, not just I like to be in law. At the end of the day, it's a business. You need to make a living out of it. So the success is with that, and then having the vision to grow it. And the growth is everything, is in the intake process, is in automation, streamlining it, reducing your costs, keep a very close eye on the cost. The people who are seen in this field that are sort of mid-sized firms is the people who actually had their eye on the number, on the cost, on the outcome of the cases. Is all, again, numbers. And that's what makes them successful.
What's a happy lawyer? What does a happy lawyer look like?
Happy lawyer is that I guess they have set up a practice, they set up a successful practice, and then in the end, they have a work-life balance out of it, so they're not drowned into their practice, and the practice can actually operate without them in it. It's like, if I'm not there, this stuff doesn't happen, which means basically you didn't set it up right. Because it can be, what I call it, you have heard me saying this many times, it's a single point of failure. One, you cannot be the single point of failure.
I'm taking a little hooks that I could use in our ads.
So one, you cannot be a single point of failure. Yeah. Then you cannot have nobody in your organization that can be a single point of failure.
Yeah, which is a huge one. I find that all the time.
Everybody tells me, yeah.
I got that amazing person who's sending my clients. I'm like, that's the worst news ever.
Exactly. It says, I have this case manager that I don't know what would I do if she ever leaves. Oh my God. Okay, well, you're
hard jobs.
Yeah. Or I have this attorney, this litigator. Man, if he ever not here, I don't know what to. That's terrible thing to say. It's like you will never find a successful company saying that. Everybody's replaceable. You need to have insurance policy. You heard me saying that a lot too. Insurance policy about everybody.
Last year we've been just building an insurance policy.
Yeah, it's just keep building the insurance policy. And some insurance it just expires on you, even though you have an insurance policy. But yeah, you have to be prepared for those things, and that's what makes it a success, and not just having this big settlements. Oh, this guy had an $8 million settlement. Yeah, but how often can you repeat that, and how much of it is actually a gain? And how often you're going to get one of those? It's all predictive analysis that you need to do in any kind of the practice.
Predictable practice.
Predictable practice.
How to build a predictable practice. Yeah. That'd be a good book title.
Well, nowadays with the AI, you can pretty much predict everything.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't. The machine does. The machine will tell you what you're going to eat like 2 weeks from now for lunch. And you don't even know where you're going to be.
Hey, hope you're enjoying the video so far. If you're a lawyer and you're looking to work smart, scale fast, and enjoy life, right below this video, you'll find a link to book a call to speak to my team so we can tell you how we've been able to help over 500 law firm owners scale their law firm. Now back to the video.
So let's get into the AI talk. The question is, what are you most excited about that's going to be applied to law firms using AI? If you don't mind, I'm going to start off with one that I'll share with you.
Go ahead.
So a big issue with signing up clients is qualifying your leads. Qualifying the leads means which of these leads are actually can be signed up is one. And two is getting in contact with them, right? Those, would you say those are the two biggest issues? Yes. So what if AI can qualify your leads for you?
It's not a what if.
No,
it can't.
No, it can't. I'm just giving you the premise, the pitch deck.
Right.
Before I give it the solution.
Okay.
It can qualify for you. That means it can go back and forth with the prospect to ask specific questions.
Right questions.
And ask the right questions. And even if the prospect says something far off, it could come back and bring it back to the conversation.
Right.
And second, getting in contact is this will be done through text. So the prospects are talking to an AI through text automatically. So I just explored this. I have the system. We're building it out right now as we speak. I think I have to bring on a couple of automation experts with me to that way I can be able to systematize this. I don't want to be the only one that knows how to do this. So I'm bringing on two people to be able to do this with me, and then hopefully be able to hopefully release it to our members, my Legal Academy members. Hopefully, we're in March. I would assume by end of April. Hopefully, is my goal. So that's what's the agenda for us.
Another angle about that you're going to experiment through this process is going to be, how you're starting a conversation with somebody based on their age, their gender, their parents and things like that. And you're basically figuring out the demographic of that person in the conversation. The smart people analyze who they're talking to right from the beginning of the conversations. AI will do that for you. If you ask them, if you find out that intake person, what gender they are, what age bracket they are, which state they live in, what city, what part of the city, and the tone of voice, the AI can automatically adjust itself to correspond with that specific person. In a way of AI, it singles out, like, this person is the only person on earth at that moment. So analyzes the entire process and formats itself to deal with that specific demographic and character. So it's almost like a perfect match. It's like how people are looking for their perfect match. AI matches itself perfectly with who is this talking to or who is this texting to. From the length of the text, from the words they're using the text, the frequency and the time it takes them to respond. It analyzes every single one of those and adjusts its responses to those data points. So this is like a deeper side of the AI that I'm talking about. But imagine if you integrate all of that into the system that you were just talking about. The front end in the beginning and in the end. And then in the end, it also knows how to close it.
Yep.
Because it knows when to push, when not to push, when to take a step back. Let them think, let them talk, let them listen. The whole thing is analyzed by AI. I can talk about this one for like hours.
Yeah, let's go back and forth. I have use cases of AI. This one is, I'm kind of proactively building out AI. Obviously, it feeds off data. And, the data right now, let's just say whatever that's out online. But even a better data is your own data that you've been sitting on. Some people, it's called building a second brain. Essentially, you have your brain, but also in the days of so much information, the smart people have been building out their own information sources. I've been saving my notes for the past 7-8 years in Dropbox, and Google Drive, and Google Sheets, and Google Docs, and all that stuff. But in the last couple of months, I've been transferring all that, organizing it, and making it a lot more conceptually structured in Evernote.
Right.
Why? Because I know Evernote got purchased by a big Norwegian, I believe, startup company, and they're gonna have AI integrations in there, where basically it's gonna take your own data and say, hey, here's all the things that you know about law firm growth. This is what you can do.
Right.
This is how to actually put this information into application. So call to action: if you have your own data right now, go compile it into Evernote or one of these tools. And eventually these tools in the next couple of months are probably going to release their AI version. And now it's just going to tap into it. So, you want to be proactive about that.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, it's not just the demographic information. All the notes you taken on this type of cases, all the reactions and the correspondence you got from the other party. If you were sort of let AI loose in your case management software or your email system, and let it dig in anything relates to the client, not what it does, by the way, but how the AI uses that. It identifies exact patterns of the data set that you're giving them. Because now for AI, that's a small data set. Even if you have 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 data points, it's still for AI is a very small data set. So it identifies and learns all the commonality between the data set you just gave them, and then goes out and finds a million other people that matches that criteria, that demographic, that pattern. So now you start with 10,000, 10 minutes later, you have like a million of the same people available to you. And then you're telling them, okay, what to do with it now. You found them, now let's figure out what we do with them.
Connected to the software that we're going to build out to qualify them and sign them up.
Exactly.
Going back to what we were talking about, was a customer service for law firms. Imagine you feed AI all the questions and answers that you have that your prospects and clients ask, and now not only can prospects come and ask questions, but also your clients. And this AI could be integrated into your own CRM. As long as you authenticate that you're the client, then you could say, hey, where am I in the case? And it basically gives an exact, timeline of exactly where they are in the case. So that's a really cool one. This one, we actually found a resource for this that is building this out. The company is called Intercom, which is one of the biggest chat tools online. So if you're interested, go to Intercom, look up Intercom Customer Service AI. You'll kind of join.
It's going to come a time, like I'm predicting, like 3 to 5 years from now, when you're calling anybody's customer service, and if you're asking them, is this a live agent, which people now prefer? If it says I'm a live agent, they're going to hang up, dial again, to hoping to get an AI answering them, because they know the AI is not going to make the mistake, has the perfect answers, has them all available. Nobody has to escalate. Let me go ask my supervisor. Let me ask. It's like there is no supervisor. It's just a worldwide world of information. So I'm gonna have the perfect answers for you, and everything I say is confirmed because the company behind it let the AI be able to make those decisions, and they're accurate decisions. So that's I'm predicting for sure in the customer service that you brought up, and everything else in between. You pretty much. It's like in the personal injury field, when you move from the intake into the case management, they're human beings deciding what side of a treatment the clients need and how often and this and that. Well, you just basically put the information into the system, have an MRI or X-ray or diagnostic done, put that in the system. The AI having access to millions and millions of similar situations and treatments and results will dictate what needs to happen next and who needs to do what kind of treatment. So all that case management, basically the ones I said that the case manager, if she leaves, I don't know what to do with she's going to leave and you're going to be replaced with some machine that is going to make all of those decisions for you.
And pretty much the case management software that apply AI first will eventually be the winner. Let's make some predictions. So which case manager do you think will be the first one? I have one in my head that I know probably jumping on it.
Well, me too. I don't know if I should name names, but I think that the 3 contenders for this thing is Filevine, Clio, and Lidify. These are the top 3 contenders for that. And Filevine is very techy, and they have a good technology, and it's very flexible and adjustable, and they have APIs for connectivity. So does Lidify and Clio. But Filevine is probably the most customizable system that is going to be catching up. But whoever does it wins.
The fastest.
The fastest. Whoever comes out with the fastest, most accurate. Because AI implementations always in the beginning are not 100% accurate. So you need to tune them in. And that tuning in is very critical on having a successful AI implementation. Just like ChatGPT has been doing. The first one's crashing every 2 minutes, answers not correct, and this and that. And sort of like 3 months later, it looked like it
went from the dumbest lawyer to the smartest lawyer.
Exactly.
Like literally, it's the only time you could literally say that. It's dumbest to smartest lawyer overnight.
Exactly. Imagine if you could do that with your staff. It wouldn't be a game changer where you can take a not so smart staff and turn it into a really amazing staff in 3 months or less? That AI can do that. And for some part, they've been a slow buy. They should have done it in 3 days, not in 3 months.
And I was going to bring up another topic, which I don't want to get into now. Maybe we'll explore it another time, which is the number one biggest challenge that law firm owners have. Well, again, we'll get into details later. But one of them is people. People, whatever, in different contexts.
Exactly.
So we definitely see, both of us see definitely a shift to the smart law firms that will rely less on people and more on systems and AI. And again, it's important not to be scared of these things or talk down on it. I think
adaptability.
Does that hurt? Yeah.
People need to learn to adapt. And not fight it. It's like how we adapted to this virtual thing, how we adapted to have a hybrid work from home and work thing. If it wasn't because of the COVID, nobody would adapt to any new changes. COVID sort of faced us.
Don't mention that word, by the way.
Right. But it forced us to be adaptable. and adapt to changes very quickly because we don't have a choice. But I think if that continues with the practices, they continuously adopt new technologies, new methodologies, new processes, new thinking outside the box, that contributes to their success tremendously.
Right. And yeah, you need to adapt, as you said. And the people that are kind of open-minded to adapt are the ones that usually do well, versus being stuck and just, no, this is, we don't understand, this is going to replace a lot of jobs, and just kind of looking at it negative way doesn't help anybody, doesn't help you, definitely.
We get a lot of that in virtual staffing. It's a whole mindset change, like the old traditional law firm. I need everybody surrounding me. Went to, well, maybe I can try a couple of people not being here. So we get a couple of virtual staff. And then I have people going from like 2 virtual staff to like 40 virtual staff in a matter of like 3 months.
Yeah.
I said, how did you have all these needs and you didn't fulfill it? I said, but no, half of it was the needs that I wasn't fulfilling. The other half I was putting out with a lot of non-performers in my firm, fear of replacements. Well, I got rid of them and I just replaced all of them with virtual staffing. It's much cheaper, much more scalable. So, and even the ones that say that we can't afford it or we don't know if we want to do it or take the dip, I tell them, have a virtual staff on us for a month, then tell me what you think. So we do that too. We to just break the ice throughout the practice, to start testing something new and adapt to the new changes.
Once you taste it, you can't stop.
Yeah, then they call back
like
and say,
Pringles.
can I have 3 more of those?
All right. So, fun conversation, but I want to give people a little preview for what's to come. We have so many interesting topics to explore together. So let me just give it a little preview, and so that way it kind of makes you want to continue watching us. We're gonna continue this AI themed because it's not gonna go away, and it's always constantly evolving, and we really the more you talk about it, the more you hear about it, the more you understand it, the more you can use it. So we want to continue that conversation. We're going to talk about qualities of successful people, which I think is huge. How both of us stay up to date with what's going on in the legal space, which is super important for any law firm owner to stay on top of everything that's going on. We're also going to talk about not just law firm stuff, but also life, including relationships. I know you've been married for a long time, and hopefully I'll have a long marriage too. And I think it's very important to tackle that. Biggest challenge that lawyers are facing, how to maintain a positive and productive work culture, and there's so many other topics that I literally have right here that we'll be talking. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed our first little episode of this. But we're open to feedback, so let us know if you enjoyed it. Give us some comments below, give us a like, and share this with one other lawyer that you know. And the reason is you're actually going to add value to their life, and you're going to expose them to something that they've never been exposed to, and they're going to appreciate you for it, and it's going to be good karma, and that will bring you good things. We appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next show.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam.